Well up, you beautiful people, Mr. O here, giving you my thoughts on the Spirit nerf. And I'm put that in quote unquote marks because everyone's saying it's a nerf. It's not a nerf, it's just a change. She's different. But that doesn't mean she's bad. I think how I see it, it's going to separate the really good Spirit players to the ones that relied on the gimmicks, her gimmicks and the look base. And I know that sounds kind of like cruel, and I am in no shape or form a Spirit main or anything, or even a good Spirit. I've only been playing with her several times, like probably about 20 times online. I've played with her like with friends, and I've played with her about 20-25 times, and I've been up against her a lot. And you can tell what kind of Spirit player they're going to be. Now, they're the Spirits that are good at the game and use the phasing at key points, or they're going to be like using her gimmicks, the things that are basically being nerfed in the update to their advantage. And then we're going to see a shift. We are going to see a shift in survivors being up against Spirits and the win and loss ratio. I swear we're going to see it. But again, all the skilled Spirits are not going to have much of a problem. And there were three major things I have a problem with the Spirit at this current moment. Collision, the window vaults, and the prayer beads. Now, we'll get to the prayer beads last due to the fact that it's my major issue, but we'll get to that last. But anyway, we'll start with collision. Collision, if you bumped into someone, right, and it wasn't your intended target or your objective, it would just happen. It would just happen basically. And you bumped into someone by pure accident, and you're like, oh, there's a survivor there. I guess I'll unphase and hit them. Isn't that RNG? Isn't that a bit luck based? Isn't that like it wasn't your intention to do that? And I know like a Spirit, like a killer wouldn't care, but I'm one of those people that I want to be rewarded for my strategy rather than, oh, I just bumped into someone, you know. And I know a lot of people used it to see which side a survivor was on a pallet, and I guess that does make sense. But at the same time, more often than not, you'd end up bumping into people by accident. Oh, just to let you know, I did see the Steve before the Nancy, but I've already had Steve like already on a hook. But I wanted to give him a chance due to the fact I'm using prayer beads to make this example of this video work. But anyway, I digress. So collision, it did offer some strategy, but more often than not, you just end up bumping into people. You'd bump into a healthy survivor that you didn't know they were there, or you'd bump into an injured Iron Will user. And it wasn't truly fair. I'm trying to use a word better than fair, but I can't think of one. It was basically a little bit BS. So, yeah, now that collision's been removed, what does this mean? It means that you'll be using her actual skill a bit more, looking for the scratch marks that the survivors leave, and using audio cues with like the moving of the grass, the moaning of survivors, the breathing, you know, all the things that actually make the Spirit, you know, a skillful killer and used effectively. Because she's a headset killer, you have to have good audio to use her, otherwise you're not gonna win, pretty much. So yeah, so collision is a good thing, but it's not a bad thing that's got. Let's be honest, it's not a bad thing. So we're going to move on to the vaulting. Now, when you're a Spirit, you can see yourself vault, but when you're a survivor, you can't. So you don't know when she's actually doing it or not, and people could mind game. She doesn't even need to phase walk to mind game you with that. You know, she could be like, unexperienced players will look at that and go, wait, I didn't see her vault. How is that fair? You know, it's as simple as that. Even though it's pretty a cool idea in your head that she's a ghost, so obviously she'd just go through a window like that. Yeah. But again, that coolness factor gets removed instantly when you realise that she did vault, but you just didn't know. And that's a simple... To the survivor, that's a very complicated mind game to sometimes, but the spirit would just be like, oh, I just went over the window. Alright, cool. Alright, see you later, buddy. And, like, again, it's not really rewarding, is it? That's kind of like preying on more of the unexperienced player's perspective. But, anyway, they're changing that so you see her vault, and then she'll be just like any other killer that vaults. That means, but she's not losing anything out of it, really. Like I said, I think the collision and the vaulting were more gimmicks rather than using that as a strategy, a proper strategy. Proper spirits would rely on tracking through, you know, the scratch marks and listening out to certain audio cues. That's what makes a good spirit. None of this RNG bullshit or, you know, the fact that you're preying on unexperienced players. That doesn't make you a good spirit. So yeah, these two changes, I think they're good. I think they're healthy for the game. And the one major thing in my eyes, the one major thing that I know people have talked about, but I don't think it gets talked about enough, is the prayer beads. The prayer beads are broken. The prayer beads are unfair. The prayer beads should never have been thought of in the first place. I don't understand. I don't know if the devs just thought, well, she's a bit hard to play as, so we'll give like these guys a chance to, you know, get used to her by sticking Baby Spirit, How to Play Baby Spirit, the add-on, because you cannot hear her. You cannot see her, you cannot hear her. So she is literally undetectable unless you have spine chill. And newsflash for you, not everyone runs spine chill, and not everyone is going to bring spine chill just in case of prayer beads. And I know that, like, Iron Will, Urban Evasion, you know, people will be like, oh, bring these three. Definitely bring spine chill, but bring Iron Will, bring Urban Evasion. And then they're like, so I'm gonna bring 3 perks for 1 killer's add-on, and you're telling me that is fair? You're telling me that's a justifiable reason why they shouldn't change prayer beads? Then, sir, you need professional help. It's ridiculous. Like with the nurse, like I'll give nurse an example, right? Now, without question, she's the hardest killer to play as in the game, and if you've gotten good with nurse, more power to you. But she gives indication when she's about to blink. There's an audio, right? Could you imagine a nurse without audio with a blink? It would be nuts. It'd be insane. That's what it's like to play against spirit beads. She can yoink you off a generator or a totem, or just get into a location where you're none the wiser about, and yeah, it's this add-on is ridiculously too strong. By the way, I did see the Nancy there after re-recording. I didn't see her originally, but yeah. Anyway, there's a clear example right there. That Steve had no idea I was coming. No idea whatsoever. And I chased that other Nancy too long, and I was like, I gotta go and check Jen's because she's actually good at the game, and I'm not. So I went back to check on the gens because there's 2 left, and honestly, these survivors did really well. And I think I got an angry message off the Steve. It was either the Steve or the Near that sent me an angry message. And you know what? in the reply back to one of the messages, they mentioned the prayer beads, and I was like, thank you. You're making my video, my example, so much better now. It's true. It is absolutely true. There is no counterplay. There's nothing skillful about using this add-on. And I know a lot of people will be like, well, it was only there so, you know, it'd be fun. I was like, you can have fun but use skill at the same time. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a lot of Wraith players out there, or a lot of trappers, or a lot of clowns that a lot of people consider low tier killers. They're a lot of fun, but they don't have like a completely broken add-on. I mean, yeah, sure, the Wraith has the no bell sound add-on, but that's an ultra rare. You know, the Trapper has RNG with his ultra add-on, Iridescent Stone, I think it is. You know, it's not exactly skillful for a random trap to open every 30 seconds, but hey, he needs all the help he can get, the poor lad. Because he's the most counterable killer in the game. And then you got Clown, which is like, it's just poor Clown, let's just put it that way. Anyway, but you know, all these killers I would like to see get a buff personally, but you have to be careful what is a buff and what's a debuff in this game, because the slightest tweak can change everything. And to be fair, these tweaks, I think they've just smoothed her out a little bit. She's no longer has this RNG factor to her. She's more of now a more smoother killer to play as. And you'll be more rewarded with your actual skill level rather than RNG. And I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, so I'm going to wrap it up here. There are other add-ons as well that got changed, and I'm not experienced enough to know if they will make a massive impact. I only really focused on the major issue. And I hope they work well. And speaking of prayer beads as well, what they're going to change it to is basically the bell clapper that the Wraith has, basically. So every time she whooshes, everyone's going to hear it. And that's a good thing. I think that's a universal, good, solid perk. It's not broken. And the fact is, no one's going to know where she actually is still technically, but at least you know she's phasing. But you don't know who to. So you could be off doing a generator and moving away from it, or spending a few seconds, you know, not doing anything because in fear that she's coming your way. And that works. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe. And what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about the Spirit changes. And let me know, I'm really interested to know. Because, you know, we're all a community here. So yeah, I think they're a good idea. But let me know. So anyway guys, I'm off. Mr. O signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next one.